So when your data are in a format such that each row is an individual person and then each column is a separate variable pertaining to that person, sometimes it can be challenging to see trends that occur across the different groupings that are possible for the variables. And so pivot tables are something that's a nice way to visualize some of these trends, and they allow you to kind of change a lot of the aesthetic settings, so you can create a pretty nice table pretty easily to be able to export it or to share. So to get this, we're going to go over here to Insert, and then there's a Pivot Table button right here. And what we need to do is we need to select our table range, and it kind of has it selected for us. You can see, it's selected all the valid values that are available. And then you can also choose where you want this to be placed. So do we want it in a new worksheet, or do we want it just kind of over here somewhere? I'm going to go ahead and choose to keep this as a new worksheet, and then we're going to click OK. So you can see that it gave us a new worksheet, and this is where our pivot table is going to go. And so we need to select what we want to group on. And so that kind of depends on what type of question you're asking. So let's say we wanted to ask, within each state, so we want to first group by state, how many people have had an interview? And so here, the order absolutely matters. So since we first want to group by state, so within each state, group by state, and it shows up down here, how many people have or haven't had interviews. And so you can see that, this is starting to come up over here. But we want to know how many. We want a number represented here. So we come over here to values, and we just kind of click in this area, and nothing's going to look like it's going to happen at first. And we'll click ID. So that's the individual, the marker for individuals here. We'll click ID, and we'll see here that it'll populate sum of ID. Now, a sum of the ID numbers doesn't really make sense because they're just ID numbers, right? What we really want is a count. So if we go to this little drop-down arrow, and go to Value Field Settings, then we see that, it kind of auto goes to sum, but we would like it to please be a count. And then OK. And now we see here that here is our pivot table. So we can see in North Carolina, 5 had not had interviews and 4 have, and in Virginia 4 have not and 6 have. And we have our totals and such here. And it allows us to better visualize that, if you will. We can also, if we wanted to kind of change the layout of this, we can go up here to the design portion of this pivot table area. So design. And here are some of the things that you can change. So let's say that I didn't want subtotal up here next to North Carolina. I would really want it kind of down at the bottom. Then I could do show all subtotals at the bottom of the group instead. And so now we can see how that changed. If I don't want any subtotals, I can just get rid of them entirely. I like them at the bottom personally. But you can kind of change that. If you want some of the stylistic changes, maybe you want it in, this peachy orange or lighter blue, you can make some of those changes here, like that, and then have a nice, pretty table to be able to export.